Why did God command Noah to build the ark in the first place? Because the earth had become completely corrupt. Violence filled every corner. Every thought of man's heart was only evil continually. God looked at his creation and was grieved to his heart. He decided to wipe out all flesh with a global flood. But one man found grace, Noah, righteous, blameless, walking with God. So God made a covenant with him. Build a vessel, and you and your family and the animals will survive the coming judgment. What did this ark actually look like, according to the Bible? God gave exact measurements: 300 cubits long, 50 cubits wide, 30 cubits high, using the standard 18-inch cubit that is 450 feet long, 75 feet wide, and 45 feet tall, 3 stories high, a door on the side, a single window or opening at the very top, 1 cubit from the roof. It was made of gopher wood, a strong, resinous timber, and coated inside and out with pitch to make it completely waterproof. This was not a cute little boat. It was a massive, rectangular, box-shaped floating fortress designed to survive the worst catastrophe in human history. How was it built? Noah received the plans when he was 500 years old. His 3 sons, Shem, Ham, and Japheth, helped him. For the next 100 years, they cut timber, shaped planks, hammered, and sealed every seam with boiling pitch. Decade after decade, while the world around them grew more wicked and mocked them relentlessly. A giant ship rising in the middle of dry land with no water in sight. They never stopped. They simply obeyed. Now, let's talk about the enormous size. 450 feet long, longer than 1.5 football fields, 75 feet wide, wider than an NBA basketball court, 45 feet tall, equivalent to a 4-story building. Its total volume was roughly 1,400,000 cubic feet. That is larger than almost every wooden ship ever built in history, and bigger than many modern cargo vessels. Engineers who have studied the dimensions say it had incredible stability in rough water, almost impossible to capsize. This was not a toy. This was the largest wooden vessel ever constructed, according to the biblical record. What were the animal requirements? This is where most people get it wrong. Genesis chapter 6 verse says, "Bring 2 of every kind, male and female, to keep them alive." But Genesis chapter 7 gives the full instruction. Take 7 pairs of every clean animal, male and its mate, and 2 of every unclean animal. Also, 7 pairs of every bird of the air. Clean and unclean categories already existed. God had revealed them to Noah long before the law of Moses, so most kinds came in pairs, but the clean animals and all the birds came in 14 each. That is why the Bible later says Noah took some of every clean animal and bird for sacrifice after the flood. The extra animals were never just for breeding, okay? They were for worship. How long was the ark actually at sea? The flood began when Noah was 600 years old. Rain fell for 40 days and 40 nights. The waters continued to rise for a total of 150 days until every mountain was covered. The ark floated for 5 months before coming to rest on the mountains of Ararat on the 17th day of the 7th month. The waters kept receding for another 2.5 months until the tops of the mountains were visible. Noah waited another 40 days, then sent out a raven and a dove. It was not until the 27th day of the 2nd month of the following year, more than 1 full year after the flood began, that God finally told Noah to come out. The ark had been their home on the water for 371 days. What happened after the door finally opened? Noah stepped onto dry ground with his family and every animal. His very first action was to build an altar. He took some of every clean animal and every clean bird and offered them as burnt sacrifices to the Lord. The smoke rose. God smelled the pleasing aroma and declared, "Never again will I curse the ground because of man, nor will I ever again destroy every living creature as I have done." 8. Then he placed a rainbow in the sky as a sign of his covenant, a promise that seed, time, and harvest, cold and heat, summer and winter, day and night would never cease, as long as the earth remains. That is the truth of Noah's Ark, not a fairy tale, not a children's cartoon, real, massive, divinely engineered vessel built in perfect obedience to save a remnant through global judgment and to preserve worship on the other side. Okay. The Bible records every detail with precision, and the facts are far more powerful than the myths we grew up hearing. Subscribe so you don't miss out on what's next.